reasons why your energy might be off in your marriage, I feel like it's like stress. Mm-hmm. We all deal with that from different, angles just coming at us, whether it be like monetary stress or stress like dealing with the kids, just stress in those moments where you maybe need a little bit more clarity in life, especially as entrepreneurs, that comes with its own level of stress. How you deal with that on an individual level really determines how you're going to thrive together.
Hey, you guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Culture of Health podcast. My name is Austin, and on this episode, I'm talking to Fantasia about how to get your marriage on the right track when the energy is off. One thing you learn when you're married is that you can't treat your spouse better than you feel. Meaning, if you're not prioritizing your physical and mental health, then your husband or wife isn't getting the best version of you. Accepting that as a reality for me in my relationship is one of the many reasons I decided to give AG1 a try. Because as a busy family man with 4 young kids, I needed a habit that helps me touch all of the nutritional bases without having to keep up with the complicated supplement routine. So I take AG1 every morning while I'm cooking breakfast, and it makes me feel good knowing that I'm covering my nutritional bases before I get swept away by my busy schedule. AG1 is made with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients, which is extremely valuable due to the fact that our nutrients aren't nearly as bioavailable as they used to be. Again, when it comes to being the best partner for your spouse, it really boils down to your health, which boils down to your habits. And for me, implementing AG1 into my morning routine continues to be a pillar of my wellness routine, and I hope it becomes a pillar for you too. So if you want to take ownership of your health, today is a good time to start. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/TCHP to take advantage of that. That's athleticgreens.com/TCHP. Check it out.
So it's Valentine's season, right? Everybody is like gearing up for a wonderful week with their boo. And, some people might not be anticipating that in a good way. Some people might not be ready for that. What advice do you have for people who are married on when the energy is off in their marriage? What can they do to fix it?
Well, first of all, what does it look like for energy to be off?
When the energy is off?
That's something that we say about our relationship.
Right.
We're like, okay, so what does it look like for us then?
So energy I would define as like the vibe, right? Your environment. I use the word vibe a lot. The environment and just the health of your marriage. So if the energy is off for us,
what's happening?
It depends. I think for everybody, this manifests differently, right? But I think one of the most important things is knowing your spouse, right? So knowing your spouse, knowing yourself. Those 2 things matter the most because or I know when something is off. Right. It takes me it's not even have to be a whole day, but we know instantly when something's off. And that looks different. So what do you think it looks like for me?
For you, you get like kind of like cold, you know what I'm saying? Distant, short, not tempered, but like just like a lower tolerance is what it is for anything, for the kids especially. But then when it comes to our relationship, we just don't talk. Saying, I know for me, if I get like a small all right, she's feeling some type of way, I'm just like, all right, bet. And then I'll pull back. And there have been times where I misread, where I thought you were feeling off, and then I started feeling off, but then you were like, nah, that wasn't you.
It was you. That's funny because that conversation, I feel like is a recent thing, right? We've been married for almost 10 years. And I think that our ability to communicate and talk about these things has really improved over the last 2 years, right? Before, I think we were just doing the best that we could.
You just felt like it was supposed to be that way, almost.
Not that it was supposed to be that way. It's just like you're just in it and you don't really know how to fix it. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what the root cause is. You don't know that you have a choice in how you feel. I mean, you might have felt that, but I don't know if I did.
Well, what is it like? What are some of the things that we went through that caused us to like? I'm saying for the energy to be off, for the vibe to be bad.
You mean like chronically, or just like here and there?
No, not chronically.
To give people a backstory, like we have a pretty decent relationship. Like we get along very well. So it is very easy for us to tell when something is off.
Right.
And it really bothers me. I get emotional about it, probably if I'm not the cause of it. Like, I don't know, like if it just doesn't sit right with me. You know what I'm saying?
If you're not the cause of it, that means
you're trying to yeah, like if I'm not the direct cause of it, if I feel like, there's more to the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, reasons why your energy might be off in your marriage, I feel like it's like stress. Mm-hmm. We all deal with that from different, angles just coming at us, whether it be like monetary stress or stress like dealing with the kids, just stress in those moments where you maybe need a little bit more clarity in life, especially as entrepreneurs, that comes with its own level of stress.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that how you deal with that on an individual level really determines how you're going to thrive together. Mm. And if you let those personal things carry over into your marriage, without discussing it and get into the root cause of it, I think it's really where you enter like dangerous territory.
But like, that's hard because you don't know. Like, I think that's the thing about getting into the danger zone.
Yeah.
Is you slip into it.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
It's not like you're not getting like glaring signs. Like most of the time when we end up in a bad place or like the energy is off, it's like a day or two into it and like it's like we don't catch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of what makes it hard, especially when it's a personal thing to reconcile, because that takes a lot of self-awareness.
It does.
And it takes a lot of work,
But that self-awareness and the work is so necessary. And I think for us, okay, so 10 years, like for 8 years, I can say that I don't know if I was aware or if I was doing the work,
I don't think you were doing the work. I don't think you were doing the work.
I don't know if I knew there was work to be done. Obviously, that there's, like, you're on this journey of growth. But I think when you really start digging into some of the stuff and really start like, different people talk about like their healing journeys, and you really start looking at the root cause of some of your feelings, or I don't know, just stuff that you got, just the baggage that you kind of come with, I think it's really when you start like, oh, okay, like this is real. And I wonder how that affects my spouse, or I wonder how that affected us over the years, And I apologize a lot for like a year. And let me tell you, this is not like this. We don't have crazy stuff, but even the small, minute things, like where you feel like
the small, minute stuff can be just as damaging as the big things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Over
and those
time,
things lead to the bigger things if not addressed.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we might, like, are we getting specific enough for people? I mean, for us, the vibe and energy being off, to me, is just like if Austin's in a bad mood, if you're in a bad mood, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, what is it?
We're not ever in a bad mood.
But you are.
But sometimes you think I'm in a bad mood. Okay. But I'm really like just focused.
Or processing?
No, not processing.
Okay, just
I've been in bad mood sometimes. Yeah. I do. I have my days, very rarely. But when I do, it's like half the time I'm like focused on doing something, and I feel like everybody is a distraction, including you sometimes. When I'm trying to like, I don't know, it's weird. Like if I gotta get stuff done, like in my mind, like I'm blocking stuff out, and then I know that throws you off because you're not getting the happy, jovial like version of me that you deserve, And I think that's why it's important for us to talk about it, which we just recently started doing, because prior to, like, I don't know, like what is it, avoidant?
Yeah, personality, attachment styles. But I think we've always been pretty good about talking about stuff. I guess it just depends on how long it took to get there. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing,
very specific thing. So what that looks like for us is, if you feel some type of way about something, then you'll just hold it. It's like you're processing.
I do have more, yeah.
And so I think before, I was probably the one who was more quick to be like, all right, what's wrong? Or just say how I felt. Not necessarily trying to reconcile, but you're just about to hear this, what I got to say. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that, obviously, that's not really the right way to do things, you know, where it feels like you might feel more attacked than you do, feeling hurt, you know. But for me, especially coming sometimes like from a family that's more vocal about how they feel, we're just gonna put it out there, you know. And you're not like that, and so I think we found this like happy place where we can both take a moment, maybe, you know, a day, maybe even less than a day, right? To just kind of process how we're feeling, check in with ourselves to see what is the root cause of this, and then approach each other with, okay, this is how I'm feeling. This is how I feel like I contributed to it, or what I see from you, and like what can we kind of do about it? It's not always that cut and dry, but you know, we try to like just drop little breadcrumbs, like, you know, try to make amends.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately we don't want to hurt each other's feelings.
That's the ultimate thing, and so it's like and that's what I was talking about. It's very hurtful to me.
So I know.
Because it's like
feelings be hurt one way or the other. Because
it's like I don't want to blame you or misrepresent what might be happening, and it's just like this internal thing, you know. But sometimes it's like, no, it's not blaming the other person, Fantasia. You just need to get some stuff off your chest. You need to not vent, but you need to talk about it in a healthy way, and that's okay.
And that takes time. And that's why I think that, you know, there's like two different ends of the spectrum. You have the I'm gonna air it out side of the spectrum, and then you got the I'm gonna not say anything. And
right.
There's like the middle. There's a middle,
Because that air it out. Ooh, I can imagine it. We don't do that.
No, it doesn't work, man. When you are communicating your feelings in the moment all the time, like you're not giving yourself a chance to process whether or not what you're feeling is real. I've had thoughts and feelings I would never share with you, because I know that like how I feel in that moment is not a reflection of like the commitment that I made long term to be all the things that I said that I would be. But it takes like a day, 2 days, 3 days for me to be like, I was tripping.
Yeah, because that's a long time.
I mean, I think that the 2 or 3 days of me not saying nothing is worth the 2 to 3 years of you remembering what I said. You know what I'm saying? If I said it and I didn't really like have a chance to say it in the way that I wanted to say it. Before we continue with this discussion, I want to take a random moment to tell you about the time my 4-year-old busted his head open. He was outside playing with a friend, and out of nowhere, we just heard him screaming. You know how your kids start crying, but you got to wait until that second scream comes out to know what's going on? Well, yeah. We opened the door, and this boy was standing there with a huge gash on his forehead. After the shock settled and we concluded that he needed stitches, one of the things that gave us peace of mind on our way to urgent care was knowing that he has health insurance to cover the visit. Everyone deserves the peace of mind when faced with an emergency, so that's why I want to tell you about Access Benefit Consultants. They're a partner of this podcast, and they're special because this is my parents' company. They've been insuring families pretty much since I was a baby, and one of the things their agency specializes in is helping independent contractors find affordable health coverage. As an independent contractor myself with the big family, having coverage in place for routine labs, or if one of your kids needs stitches on his forehead, is really important. They have a team of over 100 agents that know how to get you the coverage you need at a price that you can actually afford. So I want you to reach out. You can go directly to accessbenefits.com and schedule an appointment with one of their agents to go over your options. The entire process can be done over the phone, or you can get a quote and enroll yourself in a plan that works for you. Again, that's accessbenefits.com. Did you know that I used to be pre-diabetic? 10 years ago, I thought I was healthy just because I was skinny, and man, I was wrong. At the time, I was a broke college student living off of ramen noodles, peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and a lot of candy. So it was no surprise that I was on my way to becoming diabetic. I don't exactly regret it, but if I could go back in time, I'd do 2 things. First, I'd slap myself, and then second, I'd start using Levels. Levels is an app that uses continuous glucose monitoring to show you how food is affecting your health. That might sound complicated, but I promise it's simple. You see, your glucose is fluctuating all day, and it's primarily due to what you eat. If you can manage to improve your diet based on the feedback you're getting about your glucose levels from the app, you may notice that you'll have sustained energy, sharp memory, healthier weight, and a host of other benefits that we could all probably use more of. Here's how it works. When you sign up, you receive 2 sensors that last 14 days each. After applying the sensors to the back of your arm, you begin receiving instant feedback about how your food choices are affecting your glucose levels. It's a level of accountability that's completely changed the way I eat. If you're ready to accept responsibility for your health and ready to learn more about your body, I can't speak more highly about what Levels is building and how they're helping thousands of people see how food is affecting their health. If that sounds like something you can use in your life, I've dropped an affiliate link in the description of this video, and if you sign up using that link, you'll receive an additional 2 free months on top of your annual subscription. I just ask that you do one thing. Keep me posted about your experience. I'd love to hear all about how Levels is helping you improve your health.
But those 2 to 3 days feels like 2 to 3 months.
It does.
Of not talking, of the vibe.
That's just because we talk all the time.
Well, I'm just saying, for me, that's my perspective. It feels off and it's not right, and I don't like it. Except I do understand, it's such an eye-opening thing because I do understand how I contributed, or contributes to some of that.
Right.
So, marriage it's not easy all the time.
No.
Thankfully, it's not hard all the time either. But when it is hard, my advice for people is to stick in there, stick with it. Get to a place where you know your spouse so much that when stuff feels off.
But that takes time.
It does.
It takes time.
So for people, if you're newly married and you're listening to this, you
gotta pay your dues.
Yeah,
bro.
and you might get it wrong a lot.
You gonna get it wrong. You're gonna struggle.
You might be on the arid outside, more than you are in the middle.
Right.
And just be careful with your words.
Right.
Because you can't take that stuff back. I think a technique or whatever that I've used that I learned, I think from my best friend, is just to thinking about your thoughts and talking about positive and negative thoughts or whatever. Just not dwelling on what is, but creating what you want to be. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a special amount of patience, restraint, because you want to feel justified in how you feel. And depending upon what it is, I think that you have to evaluate whether this is, if you're gonna be 10 toes down with how you feel, or if there's room for you to I don't know, to just work it out. Does that make sense? So if I'm feeling some type of way, but I know,
it's do your feelings contribute to the picture that you want?
Exactly.
Does it contribute to the future that you want?
Yeah, ultimately. Yeah. And if it does not, then you have within your power to change that.
Right.
But
yeah, you just said that you're you don't know whether or not what you're feeling contributes to what you want to believe about your marriage. Yeah. That's important too.
Yeah, and knowing that you can change it.
Right.
There's stuff, I feel like there's work that we both do personally that we probably don't even talk about. That where it's you know what, I'm gonna see Austin as the best version of him right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to dwell on how.
And it changes the way you feel about it.
And it changes the way, and it allows me to give you grace.
Right.
For feeling how you do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I would hope that you do the same for me. I think that's one of the pivotal things that you can do.
Yeah.
Is to, just speaking about giving your partner grace and time.
Right. Yeah. I want to I think that this isn't a relationship podcast. The foundation of each of the conversations we have are health.
Yeah.
And the health of your relationship, it directly. I think that your personal relationships probably contribute to your health the most in several different ways. Not just the people that you surround yourself with influence your habits, but also how stressed out we are when we're not on the same page. I don't care about eating healthy. I'm not really trying to work out. No, you ain't trying to work out.
Oh, shut up.
When you don't feel like we're on the same page, you're more stressed out. There's anxiety. Imagine what's happening inside of your body when you're unhappy in the relationship that you're in. So us having these conversations, yes, we want people to have thriving relationships, but most importantly, we want people to thrive in general, within themselves. And it's a circle thing. You have to do the work.
A circle thing.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
a cyclical process.
Okay.
You have to do the work within to improve the relationships that you have.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the romantic relationships.
Yeah.
And then the improvement of those romantic relationships improves your personal well-being. I mean, it's like
it is.
Keep going back
Yeah.
and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the things that we do to come back from, what do we want to call it? the
trenches. Let's just call it the trenches.
To get out of the trenches, man, I think it just takes a lot of patience. I have a lot of, and like my heart goes out to a lot of like younger couples, people who've been married for a short amount of time, because it's hard. Like it's really hard to put your self-righteous like feelings to the side to accommodate the person that you're with. I know it is hard for me. Again, I have thoughts that like I discard long before I bring them to your attention. And that's not an easy process, because I think one thing that we don't talk about is what happens when you don't voice your concerns. You know what I'm saying? I know you wrestle with that a lot.
Or internalize things.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully I have, like I mentioned my best friend before, but having friendships is important too. And not the ones that you're like, oh girl, look, can you believe what he did? And then the friend is like, really? Like, well, you should do da-da-da-da-da. No. We're not having those conversations. You know what I'm saying? At 35 years old, our conversations are different. So it's a safe space to voice maybe how I'm feeling or whatever. But we're always left with like some solutions, and it brings me and you closer together. Right. It's never really, unless it's just something absurd. She's going to have my back, right? Regardless. Right. But it's always so positive, and it's always like just a deep reflection, that I can take inward. And then that helps me to decide how I want to move forward, what to tell you, what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff.
I think that ultimately you have to, especially when it comes to your friends, like you guys have to be on the same page about like what you really want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you've been that for your friends as well.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I hear you, like what you're currently going through, but I'm going to speak on what you said you wanted like, in the future.
Exactly, yeah.
And I guess that's really what it boils down to in relationships. When you talk about getting out of the trenches, like you have to see the other side before you start doing the work to get out of it. So when you and I are not, when we're not, out of the trenches, or when the energy is bad, when the vibe is off, the first thing is like, for me personally, like I have to see, like you said, I have to see you like how I want to see you. And then I have to go back and remind myself, like I told myself that I want to be married for, as long as possible until I die to one person. That's my number one commitment. Second thing is I want to be an asset to you. I want to be the type of person that feeds into you, that makes you feel good, that the type of person that you're happy to be around. And so when I remind myself of those commitments that I made, then I'm like, okay, now I can shift my perspective and like treat you differently. And then I'll start like getting close to you. I'll like rub my elbow.
I know, like those times, if you're not touching, I already know.
If I'm not, would you be standing in the kitchen waiting for me to smack your butt?
It's like, dang, what'd I do? No, I'm just kidding. But you definitely, I know, your spouse when things are just kind of off. And if you don't know, then you need to
How can people know? How do people get to know though?
How
did you get to know?
First, I think you just naturally have a bond with each other, and then you just know each other's habits. You know what that looks like. I think that, like you said earlier, we talk a lot, so that helps. We know what's going on in each other's lives as far as the different stressors, and I think ultimately we want to be the best versions of ourselves so that we can give that to the other person. And of course, there's grace for when we don't have that, but it comes with voicing that. If I'm having a rough day, if I feel like, I don't know, my hormones are kind of crazy or whatever, then I try to explain that as best as possible. It's like, okay, I'm feeling XYZ, and then hopefully that allows you to feel like, okay, so let me not take what she's saying personally or whatever. But let me see what can he, or for you, like you can see what you can do to help that situation. Because
most times, and I'm sure for a lot of men, it's like you feel some type of way, I bet. when you feeling good,
Come back.
come back and let me know. Yeah, that's always my mentality. It's like,
I mean, it depends.
it's like I gotta protect myself. You know what I'm saying?
But that's real though. And I think learning that, I think that that's smart. You know, I think the self-protection thing, it's human nature. And I can't be mad at you for wanting to protect yourself.
Right.
I think that, again, you enter dangerous territory when that goes on forever, you know, and it's never too late to fix it. Because I feel like for a good bit of our marriage, that was happening. And I mean, we were happy, we were good, you know, but then when I had just that next level awareness, and that's when I was talking about apologizing to you, I was like, dang, like
I was tripping.
I'm so sorry. And so,
what are all the things you apologize for? We can cut this out if you want to. I think that, you know, people can.
I'm not sure that I remember.
I bet you don't.
I'm still apologizing. No, I'm just kidding. Just like sometimes, okay, for like being critical, I think, and like I said earlier, just being very vocal about stuff that I didn't like. You know how you talk to a person and they're like, they can tell you all the things that's wrong, right? Instead of giving praise and being thankful and expressing gratitude for what is there, you know? I think I improved on that, which led me to apologize. I think that maybe just even not being as like affectionate, right? I just always just say, oh, I'm shy. I'm not a super affectionate person, you know? But I think when you learn and you like, when you accept that it's two people in a relationship and that might be very, very important to the other person, then you want to do that more, you know? There's other stuff to go along with that part, right?
Yeah.
Just ways that help me kind of just be in a more affectionate mood.
Yeah.
And like less shy.
I mean, I think you just prioritized it. So naturally.
Yeah, it's like being intentional. It's one of the things to be intentional about. So I literally, like, I wish I had my book. I literally write stuff down and I say, this is what I want, what I'm looking for in my marriage, how I want my spouse to be. Obviously, I'm talking about you. And then how I see myself contributing to that as well. You know, do it for you, do it for the kids, do it for everything, every relationship that I have in my life. So I write that down. Being intentional is important. And then let's see, what else have I apologized for?
Come on. To the people. What are you sorry about?
I mean, maybe, okay, so like projecting, right? My maybe fears or insecurities, if you will, onto you. That takes a lot of work to even admit that you have those. Yeah. And so
I think one of the important things out of all these apologies is like, it's twofold. First, it's that like, it takes a lot of time for you to realize what you're doing wrong in a relationship, you know? Yeah. And I think a lot of people quit before they get to the lesson, you know? Yeah. And then it's like, you know, like the picture of those two people digging for gold and then the one person walks away too fast. You know, really, I think that's what it is. Like, cause I mean, there was points in our marriage where it was like, it was one time where you was like, all right, so what's up? We gonna get a divorce?
No, I've never said that word.
Yes, you did. Do you always trust your gut? We hear all the time that we should trust our gut, but can we actually trust it? Well, it depends on your gut health, because your gut and brain are actually intricately connected, and how you see, feel, and experience the world is influenced by the signals being sent by your gut. So if your gut health is off, it may not be trustworthy. And that's why supporting your gut is one of the most important aspects of improving your overall quality of life. You can do that by getting enough fiber in your diet, but let's be honest, that's not always easy when you're busy or when your kids are picky eaters like ours. That's why we love Fiber Mix by Supergut. The resistant starch fiber feeds the good bacteria in your gut, decreases the population of bad bacteria, and can help you feel full, sustain healthier weight, and even improve your blood sugar. Personally, my favorite thing about the powder is that you can mix it in just about anything. One time we put it in the kids' spaghetti and they had absolutely no idea. Even complimented us after finishing it. Supergut's Fiber Mix is an easy way to kickstart your gut into being a more trustworthy co-pilot for your brain. If improving your gut health is a priority for you, I highly recommend you check out Supergut's Fiber Mix. I left a link in the show notes for you to check out this dope product and some of the other cool things that they offer that help you improve your gut health. All right, let's get back to the podcast.
I did not say, I said, what's the point in us even being married.
Oh.
If you're not going to see, I know, word for word.
If I'm not going to see what?
If you're basically not going to take my feelings into consideration regarding your decision.
Yeah, I think that was a different conversation.
No, I was sitting on the couch.
No, what I'm talking about, you were sitting on the bed.
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
that's okay.
But we were talking about the same thing, though. That was around the same issue.
Yeah, it was all the same thing. Yeah. But
it wasn't even, what, how long ago was it? 4 years ago?
Yeah.
I think.
But like imagine, that's 4 years ago.
5 years ago.
So we went 6 years in a relationship. And then when it was during that period of time where we were going back and forth over that specific issue, that was probably like a year where we weren't.
Going back and forth? No, it was like 3 months.
No, I mean going back and forth where, okay, so we went back and forth 3 months because I was just like, all right, whatever.
Because you acquiesced.
But yeah, I acquiesced. So that was like what stopped all of the, because if I kept on bucking,
I guess. I mean, you realize that what I was saying had some truth to it.
Yes, but then you also ended up apologizing.
Years later?
Yeah.
No, I didn't apologize for the entire thing. I didn't. I apologized for some of it. I did. I still feel that way to this day.
I know you do.
Okay.
I know. And I think that, ultimately what I'm trying to say is, like,
I withheld some information, right?
Yes.
That would have been beneficial in us figuring that situation out. And it might have made more sense to you.
Well, it did make sense to me at the time. Maybe I didn't tell you. Oh, I didn't tell you. But I knew, like, what you ended up telling me later on, like, where I felt like I had to make you feel less than in order to accomplish my agenda. But that period of time where it took for you to, like, realize, like, I could have approached that differently, or this is why I felt that way.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it would have just been like, this is why I felt that way. And we would have been able to work through it. Mm-hmm. We might have arrived at the same thing.
Probably, but it would have been less strife.
Yeah.
But you needed time.
But I tried, and I was very, like, emotional about it, because I was trying to explain and give as much as as much information as I could.
Yeah.
But
you needed that time to grow through it. So that's one part of the equation. Like, people need time to grow.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, like, on the other side of that is, like, I have to be patient and vice versa. Like, there are things still to this day that I have to improve on.
Right. Or patient and, like, wise. I scratched my head when I said that. Well, no, just patient and wise. I feel like in a relationship, it's this yin and yang. Like, it's not like I might be gifted with some insight or vision or something that you might necessarily see. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you're working together, you're able to kind of navigate life.
But when you're in the middle of struggling with your partner, the struggle that you're going through in the moment is not a strong indication of where you're headed in the future. Yeah. Not all the time, And I guess that's where wisdom can come in, where it's like, is this a now thing or a forever thing?
Yeah.
And so, like, were, I'm sure, several things. Like, I started a whole business and bankrupted both of us, Like, that was a time where you could have said, oh, hell no. Like, how many other women in...
I don't know. Maybe I was stupid.
Maybe. I think so.
I'm just kidding. No, it was a part of our journey. And
yeah, but, like, that one moment didn't define our relationship. And so you're patient enough to say, all right, cool. That's not who he is. I think that he'll grow into whatever else. Just in the same way where I was like, I'm not going to judge you for the whatever moment that you had. I'm going to give you space and room to grow. Yeah. And that's exactly the same philosophy applies to when the energy is bad and when we're in the trenches. Like, this isn't you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's who you are right now. But, like, I would feel like a fool for, one, vocalizing my frustrations with how you are in that small moment so you can remember those words forever. And I would also feel like a fool for throwing you away when you have, like, those moments. And I think that's what's happening a lot. People you're throwing away, we throw people away at whatever point in the journey that they're on, and you miss out on who they're becoming in the future. And that's
it is hard. I mean, it's really hard.
It's really hard.
And I think whether it be, like, counseling or, like, a coach or sometimes you need that, to help you see the bigger picture, to help you see, like, to give you tangible things to do to work through that stuff. Because it's hard. I mean, we're human and we're not equipped with all the things that you need. You know what I'm saying?
The experiences are what equip you.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you don't go through those experiences enough. Some people experience it one time. And then it's like, oh, shit.
Right. Or I deserve better than this, and you do.
But that doesn't mean you can't have what you deserve with the person that you're with. It just, you have to contribute to who that person is becoming as well.
Exactly. And it's a hard pill to swallow, because you have to contribute to that person is becoming, but you also contribute to who that person is to a degree in some situations, right? Depending upon how long you've been together.
Right.
We build habits and we do things and we create this persona and we're just reacting to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So I think it takes, again, a hard look at, like, yourself, who you've been, this sounds crazy, acting as, right? The person that you've chosen to be, and then realizing how you have, like, projected some of that onto your spouse.
Right.
So that's next level stuff. And I feel like I have some resources to give people.
Come on.
So
you
that
owe me some resources.
So that they too can get the help that they need. Because life is hard sometimes.
Man, life is hard.
We need help.
And
People
life
need
is
help
hard.
out here.
It's supposed to be easier. In some ways, it's easier when you do it with somebody else. But it's also harder, too, in many ways.
And having a spouse?
Yeah. When you're doing life with someone.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's easy in some ways and it's harder in others.
Yeah.
So we were talking about getting out the trenches, reversing the bad energy in your house. What are, like, 3 things that we do?
I'll say I am not good with
just give it to me.
3 things.
Come on. 3 things.
3 things that we do.
What's one thing that I do to help you get out of the funk?
I don't know what I'm about to say. You're patient.
Okay, so be patient.
Be patient. Communicate.
Communicate.
I know it's cliche.
Yeah, but it's real.
Overstated, but it's real.
Not communicating your frustrations. Yeah, that's not
immediately.
It.
No.
Yeah, it's first thinking about what you want to see in the person and then communicating from that foundation.
Exactly.
So the third, we've got be patient to get out of the fog, to get out of the trenches, to get the bad energy out of your marriage. You have to be patient, communicate. What's the third?
I think the third is forgive. I don't know.
Forgive who?
Forgive yourself and your spouse.
Yeah.
For whatever you've contributed, to this environment full of bad energy.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, my 3 things are have
sex.
Thank
you for guiding me through that.
You're welcome. I got you. My 3 things, I think having sex is important.
First. Just like, I ain't talking to you, but we about to have sex right now.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's. We could talk when we're done.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Having sex is important. Second is giving each other space. I think you got to give people space.
So you want to have sex with me, then you're going to just throw me away?
So I'll give you space first, and then I'll have sex with you. And then the last thing that I would say that I know works for us is, well, I guess it's communication. It's just talking about it. Space first, sex afterward, and then we can talk about it. Because if we're talking about it when we're still in a funk, it's a likely chance that it's not going to go our way.
I get that. Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
So that's 6 things.
All right.
Put together.
So we want 5.
Really 5, because communicate was the same.
So we got 5 tips for people.
Love it.
All right. Well, I think that we have wrapped up a good conversation.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.